My guest today is a friend of mine, Joe Plutt, retired English and Humanities instructor from Central Lakes College. A lot of people know Joe Plutt from years of, how many years? 36 years.
36 years.
At CLC, and Joe retired in 2001. And after he retired, he really didn't retire. I think he's been busier than ever on many things, but I think most specifically a project that I'd like to have him tell us about today, and that is a book about Jon Hassler, Conversations with Jon Hassler. And it's a book that's just come out, but it's been in the works. You could go back to, I guess, 1997 when you had your first interview, when you met with Jon, and interviews over a period of 4 years, about 9 novels. Jon was a instructor here for 12 years when Joe was here at the same time. So you've known Jon for like 40 years.
40 years, that's right.
12 years as colleagues. And I just want to ask you, Joe, this is your first book, right?
First and only, probably.
Well, and then this, I guess it's quite a project. I've started to read it, and I understand that you had a lot of time with Jon, but you did so much more before the actual conversations, the research that went into it. So I'd like to have you tell us about just the origins of the project.
We're not sure. I think that Jon suggested it, and Jon thinks that I suggested it. So neither of us is sure, but well, we did think that we don't know of anyone else who had many of the novels interviewed by the same person.
Yeah.
And that's what we thought was different then. So we have 9 novels.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I have one thing that he had said to me, I think it's in the book, that he had asked me, but then he said I had asked him, so we're not sure.
Well, regardless, it was underway, and those kinds of things can get lost in with all the other stuff going on and the times that you met, and it's fascinating to me to read about not only the things that Jon remembers about the books. You kind of force him to remember things.
I guess I do.
You bring out the things that he had forgotten. And,
I think so, that he wasn't going. Not that he wasn't going to share. He just didn't think of it then.
Yeah.
And it's lucky I'm a pat rat, so I saved his postcards and letters over all the years, and interviews of him and reviews of the books. And I mean, I think I have a couple file drawers full of Jon Hassler and boxes of Jon Hassler. So I went through much of that, which really helped. I mean, that was invaluable. I don't think it's available anyplace else, to be honest with you. Yeah.
And you were doing this from the interview, and the original concept was part of wasn't to work into a class that you taught in retirement?
I taught 4 classes at Central Lakes College and 1 at Minneapolis Community Technical College on novels of Jon Hassler.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting because I would reread the novel then and gather the things, and some of it was during the time of interviews and some later. But these interviews really became the source of the class. So that's what's in the book then.
Yeah.
So I hope people who took the class will buy it, because it's going to bring back many memories then.
Sure. Yeah. I think that, to me, this is a great companion book for reading, rereading. If you have read, and it's been a number of years, you reread the book, the ones that are in here, the 9 books, and then each one of your interviews, your conversations, is a great supplement. I mean, it just adds so much to the understanding of, the characters and the plot and the themes and all the things, the symbolisms that you kind of dig out. I mean, as you are an instructor and a researcher.
Well, 2 people just in the last couple of days have told me that they just started the book and they've read 1 interview, and they don't know each other, and they want to go back to the novel now, and if they haven't read the novel, to read it. And of course, that's the whole point of this, to get a renewed interest in Jon's writing.
Yeah, I think it's going to work. Tell me about, I don't know where to start with your things that are in the book, but I know that the format for this, you didn't give Jon any lead time. He wasn't tipped off. Didn't know what the questions were going to be.
It was a gamble. I didn't know what to do, but I didn't want it to be canned. So what I would do is reread the novel and read interviews and other materials, and then do the questions. and then ask him the questions, and then we had a tape recorder.
Yeah.
So all of it was on tape, and then my part-time secretary would transcribe it, and then if one of us could not be intelligible on the tape, that we would listen to it together, John and I did, and
Okay.
decide what we had said then, and we did that for all of them then.
Wow. And you went back, you reread reviews of
Oh,
the books that came out
a
at the
great
time that
deal.
they were out. The process of the finding, getting the editor, finding the publisher, just a lot of fascinating. I mean, if you're a Jon Hassler fan, and I think there's a number of them, in Minnesota,
Yeah.
he's a very
Oh, very
popular,
much.
award-winning
Yeah.
author. You're going to get a whole new look, inside Jon Hassler.
And what I wanted to do too is that kind of a literary biography then, because there's really not a biography of John in that sense. And so I tried to do things, like who his editors were,
Yep.
who the books are dedicated to.
Characters, the origins of characters and
Character-
places.
Yes, very much. And
the-
of course, Brainerd figures prominently.
Yeah.
Yes, very much,
Yeah.
and especially in Rookery Blues, but also in Staggerford, there's parts of all Brainerd in it. Yes.
All right, yeah.